I think it also can give you an insight into how you're perceived. What is it that people are really looking to you for and gathering from you and paying attention to you? Because those are the questions that are kind of coming up, right? So that makes a lot of sense. There's so much power in what we're talking about here in terms of guessing on other people's shows because of the fact that you're in the medium, you're in the topic, and everything else. So tell me more about what you've done to make this really, really work for you. And if there's anything that you've learned to avoid, also, I'd love to hear that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time I accept a request to be a guest on another show, or I reach out to a podcast to be a guest, I always want to make sure that I have a very specific call to action. And I want to make sure that I'm there to teach. Like, I show up to provide value. Being able to provide a call to action or having the host link back to my website, that's all great, right? But unless you're going there super focused with what you want to deliver, the content you want to deliver, the value you want to deliver, and then having a call to action, which I don't think I've ever been on a podcast where someone was like, nope, you can't give a call to action at the end.
Thanks, but no thanks, you're done.
So being prepared with that and really thinking about, like, I know that industries can be big, right? Topics can be big. But for example, you and I are talking specifically about guest podcasting today. So I want to make sure that, one, I'm really brushed up on that topic and how I use it. And two, that if I do share a call to action, then it's going to be very closely related, bigger chance of people who are tuning in actually going to do that thing.
100%. I actually want to dive into the repetition concept that you're talking about, because you talked about it in two different ways. The repetition of telling your story and sharing your knowledge, right, over and over and over again. I asked this question, I don't remember where I was, Clubhouse probably, but somewhere, and I asked this question because I said, I have a story. I have a couple of different interesting stories in my background, and I've told them over and over again. If I'm tired of the story, are the audiences, the masses, tired of the story? And the person said something that I'll never forget. They said, no, all you're doing is getting better and better and better at honing it and telling it. And then eventually you can also parlay that into a paid speaking gig, a paid topic a topic that you're paid to speak on, because you've now practiced it so much through that repetition. And it made me think about it completely differently. And then the other part of repetition I want to highlight too is that call to action. Now, I raise my hand saying I'm super guilty, and I've gotten better over the years, but I'm super guilty at asking for anything. Okay. Asking for anything makes me really awkward and feel really uncomfortable. And so even if I'm just speaking to nobody, there is nobody watching me, there's no one in the room, it's just me, I still feel like saying call to action to an audience that is going to hear me in a couple days, it feels weird. And I know that I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one. So the more that you get to be a guest on other people's show and then do that, the easier that flows too. And the easier, whether you call it a pitch or not, you can learn how to tweak it for different audiences and different situations. And then when you're at that network event and someone comes up to you wanting to say blah, 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 and you could just, right? It's because you've had this repetition.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, I mean, the repetition of meeting new people every time you hop on the mic is amazing. It makes you a really great connector and relationship builder, which is, of course, incredible to connect with other podcasters in the space. And I also love it for the authority and credibility it provides.
Yes.
If you're a guest on like a big name show in your industry or your niche, you can feature that on your website. You can, share it with your own audience. And you mentioned speaking gigs. I mean, I believe that my appearances on other podcasts help me identify kind of that thing that I'd be known for. And I believe that's the only reason I ever got invited to speak on stages. So I really feel like there's this like multi-prong approach of how incredible this can be for you in your business.